Okay, chapter 9.3 on graphing data. We're just going to take some data and we're going to learn how to graph it. Let me show you first of all, we're going to try to graph data that has to do with the height of a plant as it grows. So this is plant height. Now, we're going to keep track of the number of days that the plant is growing, and we want to find out how tall it gets, and we'll do that in centimeters as the days go by. And sometimes it makes sense to, if you measure every day, it's a little hard to tell how tall it is. So we might measure every 5 days. So we'll go 10 days, 5, 10, 15 days, 20, 25, and 30. And then we're just going to make up some numbers for the height of a plant. After 5 days, it might be 1 inch tall, and after 10 days it could be 4, and then it could be 10, I said inches, I'm talking about centimeters, 10 centimeters tall, and then 14, and then 19, and then 25. So it's growing. Every day that goes by it grows a little bit, but every 5 days we measure it and we can see what it grows. Okay, so one of the most important things is that we're going to measure the height on this vertical axis. The y-axis is going to always be how tall, maybe in centimeters. So we might, write this like height in centimeters. Is a little hard for me to write sideways. And that's happening. This is the y-axis. And then along the bottom, we're going to count the days. And this is the x-axis that goes along this direction, just as usual. Now, we always want to do something that we can count in regular intervals along this horizontal axis. And we'd start at 0, so this would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 days. And then going up the side, we get up to, it looks like we get up to 25. So if we counted by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, that only gets us to 20. So we might have to count by maybe 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So we can choose to count by whatever we want. This point is still the origin. It's still 0, 0. And then we have data here. We have to figure out what to do with it. We're just going to show how the height of the plant has changed over time. And we have to turn these numbers into basically coordinate points, where this is the x and this is the y. The time goes by really regularly. It doesn't change 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. But these numbers are not always the same. From 1 to 4 is only 3 centimeters, but from 4 to 10 is 6 centimeters. From 10 to 14 is 4 centimeters, and then 14 to 19 is 5 centimeters. So this change, that's what goes along our vertical axis, because we never know how much it's going to grow every day, but we know that we're only going to measure every 5 days. So our points can look like an ordered pair, 5, 1. Now where the x is first and the y is second. You always want to put the x first. It's in order and it makes sense. So you have to go over to the 5 and up to the 1, which we can't exactly tell where the 1 is because we're counting by 4s. But we know it's lower than halfway through, so we can kind of make an estimate there. The next one is 10, 4. And so we come over to 10 and we go up to 4. Put in a little dot. Next one is 15, 10. So we go over to 15, and we can't see 10 again, but we can kind of get close. And then the next one is 20, 14. It's an ordered pair like that. Go over to 20, and then up to 14. And then 25, 19. And we can see how our plant is growing as the days go by in 30, 25. I'm just writing these ordered pairs out because it's important that you understand how those work. And even though they do not go up exactly the same every time, we can tell that it looks a little bit like a line. It doesn't create an exact line, but it's going up at a relatively uniform pace, and we could kind of guess how high it would be after 35 days. Maybe this would be like an estimate. We kind of see how high after 35 days and how high after 40 days. It might be up here. We could kind of make some good guesses using our science on how tall that plant would be after a certain number of days, how many centimeters tall it would be, assuming it kept growing at the same speed. Now, I suppose if you stopped watering it or you put it in the basement, it would have a reason to slow down its growth, or if you gave it a lot of fertilizer, it would grow faster maybe. But as long as you keep it in the same conditions that you're keeping your plant growing in, you ought to be able to see that it grows at about the same level as the days go on. And understanding this x-axis is kind of our time component, and the y-axis is our measurement that could change day to day. And that's where we put those. We take a chart full of data, and we turn it into ordered pairs, and we put it on a graph like this. And it's kind of a neat exercise. It's sort of fun. It's almost like art class, so you guys enjoy this one.